Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang. I am here on morning number 1762, Morsels of a Thought of Wisdom. Hopefully, that we learn the right things to do. And today we are reading from the Book of Virtues, commentary and editing by William J. Bennett. And we're working on work today. Work. Page 373. We are trying to get some wisdom because knowing the right things we can do is having wisdom. Doing it is having virtue. How the camel got his hump by Kipling. William J. Bennett says Kipling's Just So series, sorry, I had a concussion 2 days ago, so sorry, I am a little bit blah, 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 blah. All right, How the Camel Got His Hump, Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling's Just So stories, from which this tale is taken, have enchanted generations since their publication in 1902. Kipling created the whimsical stories for his daughter Josephine while he was living in America. So Rudyard Kipling says, in the beginning of years, when the world was so new and all, and the animals with a capital A were just beginning to work for man, capital M, there was a camel, capital C, and he lived in the middle of a howling desert, capital H, capital D, because he did not want to work. And besides, he was a howler himself. So he ate sticks and thorns and tamarisks and milkweed and prickles, excruciating, most excruciating idle. And when anybody spoke to him, he said, humph, just humph, and no more. Presently, the horse came to him on Monday morning with a saddle on his back and a bit in his mouth and said, Camel, oh camel, come out and trot like the rest of us. Humph, said the camel, and the horse went away and told the man. Presently, the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth and said, Camel, oh camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us. Humph, said the camel, and the dog went away and told the man. Presently, the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck and said, Camel, oh camel, come and plow like the rest of us. Humph, said the camel, and the ox went away and told the man. At the end of the day, the man called the horse and the dog and the ox together and said, 303, I'm very sorry for you with the world so new and all, but that humph thing in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now. So I am going to leave him alone, and you must work double time to make up for it. That made the three very angry with the world so new and all, and they held a palaver, and an indaba, and a punchayat, and a powwow on the edge of the desert, and the camel came chewing milkweed most excruciating idle and laughed at them. Then he said, humph, and went away again. Presently there came along the Jinn, Djinn, in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. Jinns always travel that way because it is magic. And he stopped to palaver and powwow with the three. Jinn of all deserts, said the horse, is it right for anyone to be idle with the world so new and all? Certainly not, said the Jinn. Well, said the horse, there's a thing in the middle of your howling desert, and he's a howler himself, with a long neck and long legs, and he hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday morning. he won't trot. Whew, said the Djinn, whistling. That's my camel for all the gold in Arabia. What does he say about it? He says, humph, said the dog, and he won't fetch and carry. Does he say anything else? Only humph, and he won't plow, said the ox. Very good, said the Djinn. I'll humph him if you will kindly wait a minute. The Djinn rolled him up in his dust cloak and took a bearing across the desert and found the camel most excruciatingly idle, looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. My long and bubbling friend, said the Djinn, what's this I hear of your doing no work with the world so new and all? Humph, said the camel. The Djinn sat down with his chin in his hand and began to think a great magic, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. You've given the three extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your excruciating idleness, said the Djinn, and he went on thinking magics with his chin in his hand. Humph, said the camel. I shouldn't say that again if I were you, said the Djinn. You might say it once too often. Bubbles, I want you to work. And the camel said, humph, again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back, which that he was so proud of, puffing up and puffing up into a great billy, into a great big lolloping humph. Do you see that? Said the Djinn. That's your very own humph that you've brought upon your very own self by not working. Today is Thursday, and you've done no work since Monday, when the work began. Now you are going to work. How can I, said the camel, with this humph on my back? That's made a purpose, said the Djinn, all because you missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating, because you can live on your humph, and don't you ever say I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the three and behave. Humph yourself. And the camel humphed himself, humph and all, and went away to join the three. And from that day to this, the camel always wears a hump, if we call it a hump now, not to hurt his feelings, but he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he missed at the beginning of the world, and he has never yet learned how to behave. The camel's hump is an ugly lump, which well you may see at the zoo, but uglier yet is the hump we get from having too little to do. Kiddies and grown-ups, ooh, ooh. If we haven't enough to do, ooh, ooh, we get the hump. Camellia's hump, the hump that is black and blue. We climb out of bed with a frowsly head and a snarly, yarly voice. We shiver and scowl and we grunt and we growl at our bath and our boots and our toys. And there ought to be a corner for me, and I know there is one for you, when we get the hump, Camellia's hump, the hump that is black and blue. The cure for this ill is not to sit still or frowst with a book by the fire, but to take a large hoe and shovel also, and dig till you gently perspire. And then you will find that the sun and the wind and the Djinn of the garden, too, have lifted the hump, the horrible hump, the hump that is black and blue. I get it as well as you, ooh, ooh, if I haven't enough to do, ooh, ooh. We all get hump, Camellia's hump, kiddies and grown-ups, too. That was how the camel got his hump, by Rudyard Kipling. Next, we have Dust Under the Rug. by Maud Lindsay. We're reading from the Book of Virtues by William J. Bennett, who collected all these stories, this anthology. William J. Bennett says about Dust Under the Rug, this story reminds us that we are rewarded well, both in coin and in character, only when our work unseen is just as good as our work seen. There was once a mother who had two little daughters. And as her husband was dead and she was very poor, she worked diligently all the time that they might be well fed and clothed. She was a skilled worker and found work to do away from home. But her two little girls were so good and so helpful that they kept her house as neat and as bright as a new pin. One of the little girls was lame, and could not run about the house, so she sat still in her chair and sewed, while Minnie, the sister, washed the dishes, swept the floor, and made the home beautiful. Their home was on the edge of a great forest, and after their tasks were finished, the little girls would sit at the window and watch the tall trees as they bent in the wind until it would seem as though the trees were real persons nodding and bending and bowing to each other. In the spring, there were birds. In the summer, the wild flowers. In autumn, the bright leaves. And in winter, the great drifts of white snow, so that the whole year was a round of delight to the two happy children. But one day the dear mother came home sick, and then they were very sad. It was winter, and there were many things to buy. Minnie and her little sister sat by the fireside and talked it over, and at last Minnie said, "Dear sister, I must go out to find work before the food gives out." So she kissed her mother and, wrapping herself up, started from home. There was a narrow path leading through the forest, and she determined to follow it until she reached some place where she might find the work she wanted. As she hurried on, the shadows grew deeper. The night was coming fast when she saw before her a very small house, which was a welcome sight. She made haste to reach it and to knock at the door. Nobody came in answer to her knock. When she had tried again and again, she thought that nobody lived there, and she opened the door and walked in, thinking that she would stay all night. As soon as she stepped into the house, she started back in surprise, for there before her she saw 12 little beds with the bedclothes all tumbled, 12 little dirty plates on a very dusty table, and the door of the room so dusty that I'm sure you could have drawn a picture on it. "Dear me," said the little girl, "this will never do." And as soon as she had warmed her hands, she set to work to make the room tidy. She washed the plates, she made up the beds, she swept the floor, she straightened the great rug in front of the fireplace, and set the 12 little chairs in a half circle around the fire, and just as she finished, the door opened and in walked 12 of the queerest little people she had ever seen. They were just about as tall as a carpenter's rule, and all wore yellow clothes. And when Minnie saw this, she knew that they must be the dwarfs who kept the gold in the heart of the mountain. "Well," said the dwarfs all together, for they always spoke together and in rhyme, "now isn't this a sweet surprise? We really can't believe our eyes." Then they spied Minnie and cried in great astonishment, "Who can this be so fair and mild? Our helper is a stranger child." Now, when Minnie saw the dwarfs, she came to meet them. "If you please," she said, "I'm little Minnie Gray, and I'm looking for work because my dear mother is sick. I came in here when the night drew near, and—" Here all the dwarfs laughed and called out merrily, "You found our room a sorry sight, but you have made it clean and bright." They were such dear, funny little dwarfs. And after they had thanked Minnie for her trouble, they took white bread and honey from the closet and asked her to sup with them. While they sat at supper, they told her that their fairy housekeeper had taken a holiday, and their house was not well kept because she was away. They sighed when they said this, and after supper, when Minnie washed the dishes and set them carefully away, they looked at her often and talked among themselves. When the last plate was in its place, they called Minnie to them and said, "Dear mortal maiden, will you stay all through our fairy's holiday? And if you faithful prove and good, we will reward you as we should." Now Minnie was much pleased, for she liked the kind dwarfs and wanted to help them, so she thanked them and went to bed to dream happy dreams. Next morning she was awake with the chickens and cooked a nice breakfast, and after the dwarfs left, she cleaned up the rooms and mended the dwarfs' clothes. In the evening, when the dwarfs came home, they found a bright fire and a warm supper waiting for them. And every day, Minnie worked faithfully until the last day of the fairy housekeeper's holiday. That morning, as Minnie looked out of the window to watch the dwarfs go to their work, she saw on one of the window panes the most beautiful picture she had ever seen, a picture of fairy palaces with towers of silver and frosted pinnacles, so wonderful and beautiful that as she looked at it, she forgot that there was work to be done until the cuckoo clock on the mantel struck 12. Then she ran in haste to make up the beds and wash the dishes, but because she was in a hurry, she could not work quickly, and when she took the broom to sweep the floor, it was almost time for the dwarfs to come home. "I believe," said Minnie aloud, "that I will not sweep under the rug today. After all, it is nothing for dust to be where it can't be seen." So she hurried to her supper and left the rug unturned. Before long, the dwarfs came home. As the rooms looked just as usual, nothing was said, and Minnie thought no more of the dust until she went to bed and the stars peeped through the window. Then she thought of it, for it seemed to her she could hear the stars saying, "There is the little girl who is so faithful and good," and Minnie turned her face to the wall, for a little voice right in her own heart said, "Dust under the rug, dust under the rug." "There is the little girl," cried the stars, "who keeps home as bright as starshine." "Dust under the rug, dust under the rug," said the little voice in Minnie's heart. We see her," cried all the stars joyfully. "Dust under the rug, dust under the rug," said the little voice in Minnie's heart, and she could bear it no longer. So she sprang out of bed, and taking her broom in her hand, she swept the dust away, and lo! Under the rug lay 12 shining gold pieces as round and as bright as the moon. "Oh, oh, oh!" cried Minnie in great surprise, and all the little dwarfs came running to see what was the matter. Minnie told them all about it, and when she had ended her story, the dwarfs gathered lovingly around her and said, "Dear child, the gold is all for you, for faithful you have proved and true. But had you left the rug unturned, a groat was all you would have earned. Our love goes with the gold we give, and oh, forget not while you live that in the smallest duty done lies wealth of joy for everyone." Minnie thanked the dwarfs for their kindness to her, and early next morning she hastened home with her golden treasure, and which who- she hastened home with her golden treasure, which brought many things for the dear mother and which bought many things for the dear mother and little sister. She never saw the little dwarfs again, but she never forgot their lesson to do her work faithfully, and she always swept under the rug. Okay, let's see. Uh, all right. This one is called "I Meant to Do My Work Today" by Richard La Gallienne, Gallien, Gallien. I include this little poem, says William J. Bennett, as a reminder that, as the saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But we should also remember that we enjoy play the most when it crowns good, hard work. I meant to do my work today, but a brown bird sang in an apple tree, and a butterfly flitted across the field, and all the leaves were calling me. And the wind went sighing over the land, tossing the grasses to and fro, and a rainbow held out its shining hand. So what could I do but laugh and go? Okay. Nixon Waterman. Work is not a plan of work. This is William J. Bennett says, work is not a plan for work. Putting off work can be the same as just plain not working. This is called What Have We Done Today by Nixon Waterman. We shall do much in the years to come, but what have we done today? We shall give our gold in a princely sum, but what did we give today? We shall lift a heart and dry the tear. We shall plant a hope in the face of fear. We shall speak the words of love and cheer. But what did we speak today? We shall be so kind in the afterwhile, but have we been today? We shall bring to each lonely life a smile, but what have we brought today? We shall give to truth a grander birth, and to steadfast faith a deeper worth. We shall feed the hungering souls of earth, but whom have we fed today? We shall reap such joys in the by and by, but what have we sown today? We shall build us mansions in the sky, but what have we built today? 'Tis sweet in the idle dreams to bask, but here and now do we our task? Yet this is the thing our souls must ask: what have we done today? What did we speak today? What have we been today? So, what have we done today? But what have we done today? But what did we give today? But what did we speak today? But what have we been today? But what have we brought today? But whom have we fed today? But what have we sown today? SOWN. But what have we built today? What have we done today? This is nice. By Nixon Waterman. All right, so that was all on work. I will just say that yes, I'm going to go see a doctor in about an hour. so, uh, so what we do is we know the right things to do and thus gain wisdom from people who have the wisdom. And by doing what we know is right, we are committing acts of virtue. Wisdom from other people, virtue from ourselves. Okay? Old Kinderhook.